as well. Here we go. And you can see the disadvantages at the last. And one by one, you will be explaining. So, yeah, Zainab, disadvantage of retained profit is that it is not available to new businesses. So, can you just develop this point?
Yes, sir. Sir, I
Yeah,
wrote
please.
retained profits might not be available to new businesses because business has just started to cover its costs and might not have enough customers at initial stage. So in that case, it might not be possible to have profit in such a short period of time.
All right, Zainab, very good. That's right. Although your voice was not that clear, but still, I got the understanding of it. So you know that because we just covered the chapter break-even analysis as well. So new businesses are yet to cover their cost. It means they have not yet achieved the break-even level. So that means they have not earned profit. So that's why it's not available to new businesses in that case. So you are perfectly fine. But if you use that term as well, break even, yet to achieve break even, so I think it will be more useful to use it as development for this point. Okay, second, profits too low to expand. Yes, can you develop this as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
If the
please.
business if the business would keep large profits but don't pay the dividends to shareholders, as a consequence, the shareholders who invested in the business might withdraw investments, and as an outcome, business would lack funding or fail.
All right, Zainab. That is perfectly fine. But that is actually the development of the third disadvantage. It's written more profit kept, less dividend. So here it is perfectly fine that if businesses try to keep more profit as retained profit, they have to reduce the dividend, and it will make the shareholders or the owners of the business unhappy, and they may not like to invest further
Yes, sir.
for,
This is the
yeah.
third point which I told
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. For the growth of the business, they won't invest. Right. So, if the second point, if you need to explain that, you will say actually that some businesses they do not have enough profits to finance large amount of expenditure. For example, in case of capital expenditure, it is always good to give an example if you can while developing your point, if it is possible. Although in business studies there is not much space. But if you think that you are not able to develop, you can give an example as well. So here you can say that in case of capital expenditure, which normally requires a large amount, let's say taking over another business, launching a new product, okay, or setting up a whole new technology throughout the business, let's say capital intensive production. So this actually requires a huge amount, and maybe profits might not be sufficient to finance that expenditure. So this is how you can explain that as well. I hope you got it, Zainab.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving onwards. Now the second source of internal finance, that is, um, it's not coming. Just a minute. Yeah. Now you can see it's sale of business assets. So obviously, the you say the assets which are lying idle. Okay, surplus assets. Okay, we discussed that as well. You know that last time. So could be those that are no longer used for or outdated. Okay, so or about to be outdated. So it is better to sell them to get some cash so that you can use it somewhere. Otherwise, if you just keep it there for longer, it will get out of date. So you may get some amount of money, but it may not be that much sufficient. So it is better that you know that this machinery is not gonna be used in the future and it's gonna go outdated. So it is better to sell it and get some money to finance some other business kind of. All right. So advantages could be better use of tied up capital. I told you, and here tied up capital actually directly links with opportunity cost. That the money could have been used somewhere else, but you are not using it, and your capital is stuck there in the form of assets. So you can get cash out of it by selling it, and you can use it for some other useful purpose of it. So large amount can be obtained,
Sir,
yes. Yeah. Yes, Sharon?
Sir, can you explain the first advantage again?
All right, sure, why not? But it's written better use of tied up capital, right? So I told you that you can link it with opportunity cost as well. How? Like if there is an asset available there, so cash is stuck up there. So that cash can be used, could have been used somewhere else, but you are not selling your asset. So there is an opportunity cost. That money could have been used somewhere else for a better purpose or to finance an important expenditure of the business, but you are not doing it because the cash is stuck up there. So if you sell that asset, you can release cash from it and you can use it for an important expenditure of the business. You can use it as a source of finance there, right? So you can reduce the opportunity cost which is involved there. Then I've got it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So second advantage is large amount can be obtained. Yes, because assets normally have high value, especially if they are not outdated. Okay, but you feel that they are gonna be outdated very soon. So it is better to sell them quickly right there. Okay, disadvantage, time consuming. Yeah, because do you know why it is time consuming, Zainab?
No, sir.
All right, because for that you require somebody to buy it. It means you require a potential customer first of all. So it may take time. Let's say you say my assets are for sale, but still you have to wait for the people to come to buy that. So you have to wait for those interested people who are interested in buying those assets. So it may take time. So if you, let's say, if there is an emergency and you have to meet your expenditure quickly, this is not a suitable option because it will take time. So yes, if you are going to spend after maybe in 3 months time, okay, then it is quite useful that you can offer that asset to other people, okay, and or you can label it for sale, right? And maybe sooner or later you will be able to sell it and you will get cash out of it. Think about a car. For example, you have three cars and one car is actually not in use and you plan to sell it, right? So it's not that easy to sell the car right away. You obviously give an advertisement there in a newspaper and then it will take time. People would contact you and then you will be picking up the most suitable person who will actually offer you a price at which you are willing to sell, right? So this whole process takes a lot of time. So that is why if you think that there is an expenditure and you have to meet it quickly, you cannot delay it. So let's say I'm paying to supplier for the raw material, and supplier cannot wait any longer because already there is a 1 month delay there. So you cannot use that option because time is money in that case. Zainab, got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. The second disadvantage is not available to small or new businesses. And why it is so? Reason is because generally small businesses they do not have surplus assets there because whatever they buy they want to
Mostly
use it.
they have just started their new business and all the costs are now new. So that's why they cannot sell their surplus equipments.
Yeah,
So they
that's
don't
right.
have any extra.
Then are very good, and especially for large businesses, it happens huh? That maybe there is a large hotel and there are some furniture which is available and not in use at all by the visitors. Okay, so you can sell that off. Okay, but earlier maybe there were so many guests there who were using that furniture, but now it's not in use. Similarly, in case of a restaurant, there might be certain tables and chairs which are not in use because you feel that because earlier you actually spent a lot and then you realize that now we have a fixed number of customers which come during the weekend or maybe on weekdays. So you can decide now that this is the surplus asset. Otherwise, when you start your business, you cannot have an estimate. One thing is you just mentioned that smaller businesses normally have a few assets which they think that they can use it. They cannot actually buy too many assets at the start because they do not have much money and they do not have any idea whether all the assets will be used or not. So that's why they start with small amount of assets. Okay, this is perfectly fine. But with the passage of time, when you get big, you realize that okay, we always get this much amount of customers on daily basis. So then you can decide that whether there are some surplus assets or not, because it's not about that one day one asset has not been used. For example, if it is a restaurant and maybe on a given day a table or a chair, let's say, was not used, so we can't take the surplus asset, right? So you have to decide about it over a period of time with your experience. That okay, yes, we know that we have 50 seating capacity of 50 customers who can actually we can make an arrangement for them, but we have actually an arrangement of 60 customers. So it means that the 10 uh, uh, chairs and tables which are there, they are extra, but you can get to it with the passage of time rather than deciding soon after one day or 2 days or even after a week, because sometimes it happens our customers do not visit, but sometimes there are so many customers. So yes, that's why it's not available. So you can write whatever you want for the development of that point. Either that small business argument, that is they have a small amount and they cannot take a risk of buying a large amount of assets which they won't be able to use, or you can then as justification you can tell that as well. Large businesses normally have an experience and they can tell that these assets are not going to use in the future at all. So that's why they can have surplus assets and they can sell it. Smaller businesses, neither they have the amount nor they have the experience to decide about whether this much amount of assets are surplus or not. Has Zainab got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So moving onwards, now running down stocks. Now running down, you know what does it mean? Run down.
The excess stock which can be sold currently.
Yeah, okay. But when we say running down, it means you want to reduce your stock. You feel that stock is available, let's say in the form of raw material, and you think that it's not going to be used in the future, or at least in the near future. So it is better to sell them. Reduce your stock. This is running down stock. Then use to raise cash. Yes, like let's say you have a warehouse and there are lots of items which are available there, lying idle. So there is a risk of getting them damaged. They can be stolen as well. They can go out of date as well. So it is better to sell them and raise cash from it. So advantages. Reduced opportunity cost. Again, you know about it. Zainab, now can you explain that point? How it reduces opportunity cost? Zainab, no idea? Hello. Okay, so good to see Shazeen. That you are here as well for the very first time. Thank you very much. But you need to attend my classes, huh? Uh, Zainab, I guess, has a problem because she's not able to say anything. Shazeen, is my voice loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. So Shazeen, can you comment on that? That is the first advantage, that if you reduce your stock level, let's say it is available there in a warehouse, but you are not able to use it. Okay, so if you sell it off, it will reduce your opportunity cost. How does it happen? That's my question. Yes.
Sir, maybe because we have sell it. So now we don't have the option to use our stocks in another place. We just have one option right now. So our opportunity cost is reduced.
All right. Okay, Shazeen, it's very good that you are participating. Secondly, your concept of opportunity cost is very good. That's right. But here the question is, the advantage is reduced opportunity cost. Now think about it. Let's use lots of raw material. You can see in the picture as well, right? Lots of items there in the stock, right? Now you are not using it. It means your cash is stuck there. Okay, that cash could have been used somewhere else for meeting some other expenditures of the business. For example, payment of wages and salaries to the workers. But you are not able to do it. Why? Because your cash is tied up there in the form of stock. So if you sell it off, right, and get cash out of it, now you can pay wages and salaries to your workers. So here, opportunity cost will be reduced, right? Otherwise, you might have to take out money from some other source to pay salaries and wages to the workers, because This is a sort of expenditure which you cannot delay. You have to pay your workers on monthly basis. So that's why when you get cash from the idle stock there or the surplus stock there, opportunity cost is reduced because now you can pay to meet your other expenditures as well. Shalvin, got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So if you have any confusion, you can ask me. I mean, there is no point of being hesitant if you are not clear, huh? Because I can answer your question 100 times if you ask me. Huh? So feel free to ask. All right. So yeah, yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Uh, I think.
No, sir, I don't have a question right now.
All right. Okay. I think Zainab is having a problem. She's not able to talk. Huh? So maybe there is some issue on her part or at her place. Okay. All right. I'll continue because I'm recording the lesson as well. Okay. Second advantage is save on storage cost. So you can save your storage cost as well. So Zainab or Shazeen, can you tell me how storage cost can be saved or what kind of storage cost is involved there? Zainab, Shazeen, anybody?
Sir,
Yeah.
we have to have space to store our extra assets. So when we sell them, so we won't need that space anymore.
Very good, Shazeen. Very good. So, I mean, I am telling you that with my experience, all of the girls who actually attended my classes, including your response is very encouraging. I'm telling you, and this is the topmost requirement of business studies. I'm telling you. So, if you keep on attending my classes and keep on participating, I'm telling you, by the will of God, I can take you to the heights you desire. I'm telling you. So it's a very good sign. Right now, I know about Manha, I know about Zainab as well. Then Hamna is also, she does participate as well. And now Shazeen as well. Abhi is also one of the brightest girl, I know that. But right now, she's not attending classes because of some reason. Okay, all right. So urgent orders. Okay, so storage cost is such as you require a place, you just mentioned. Okay, that place is normally called a warehouse. Okay, when you hire a warehouse to keep your stock over there, so you have to pay a rent of that place, right? And that rent is a cost. So when rent needs to be paid, there is cost involved, and it reduces the amount of profit for the business. This is how you will be developing it. Because if you just mention that if you sell up your surplus uh, raw material, so it will save the cost of the rent or the warehouse, right, in the form of rent which you actually pay, all right. But you need to add it further that when cost will be reduced, the possibility of getting higher profit will also increase because lower the cost, higher will be the profit of the business, and that is the most important objective of every private sector business. This is how you will be developing it as well. Okay, disadvantage, urgent orders increase cost. Now, how does it happen? Let me explain you. Or Shazeen, can you?
Um, Sir, whenever we have to deliver an order or some product to our customer at a normal pace, we won't have to pay some extra charges to the courier or whatever service we are using to provide them. The third party, basically the tertiary sector. But if the orders have to be delivered urgently, it will require extra cost, extra transportation cost, maybe if the business delivers them themselves or through a courier.
Okay, all right, Shazeen, I fully understand what you said actually. Yes, you are right that when there are urgent orders, so obviously you will ask your supplier to deliver it quickly, right? For example, normally supplier takes 3 days time or 4 days time to deliver the stock, right? Which you order. But now you require it urgently. So you say, all right, we are giving you one day's time. So supplier will say, okay, all right, I'll provide it to you in one day, but I'll charge more. Simple as that, because I have to use more of my resources for that purpose. Because now you want the stock to be delivered within one day. Yes, that's right. But The question is why urgent orders will be required, how it is linked with running down stocks. If you are selling your surplus stock, why it is linked with urgent orders? That's my question. Huh? Link it up with that. Any idea?
Sir, maybe
Can you hear me now?
we're waiting for a better opportunity uh, where the
Okay.
price is high of the stocks, but we don't avail that because we have to, deliver it urgently. I don't really have an
Okay.
idea about it.
It's perfectly fine, Shadi. Doesn't matter. At least you actually gave it a try. Now, yes, Zainab, please speak up.
Sir, can you hear me?
Um,
Sir,
yes, Zainab, please go ahead.
sir, can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, my question is that the disadvantage of running down stock as a source of finance is that urgent orders can increase costs. So actually, the problem is actually Shahzeen explained the point, but she was not able to link it up with the source of finance we are talking about. How, if you reduce your stock, which is available there in the warehouse, if you sell it off, how it will lead to increased costs when there are urgent orders? That's my question.
Sir,
Why there will
can't
be
it happen that demand has increased and it forces to order suppliers to stock urgent because now the paper demand has increased. In this case, the cost of storage increased too.
all right, then okay, all right. Yes, you are in the right direction. Now let me explain you that as well. Okay, what happens when you sell off your surplus raw material? Okay, but let's say your prediction goes wrong, and soon after some time demand goes up. Now you do not have the stock available to produce goods for your customers because you have just sold it, right? So now it means you have to order your supplier to deliver the stock urgently. That's why. Otherwise, it's not required. If you have ample stock, surplus stock available, what happens? If demand increases all of a sudden, you still have surplus stock there. You can use it and you can ask your supplier to deliver the stock comfortably in a week's time because you have sufficient amount of stock there. But once it's not there, and why it's not there? Because you have sold it off, and that just happened because you actually made a wrong prediction. The demand is not gonna go up, but it actually went up. So that's why now you have to go for immediate order, urgent orders. Okay, and then the supplier will charge an extra amount for that. That will increase the cost of the business, and it will lead to lower profits as well. I hope, Shaheen, now you got it.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now you see how I actually linked it with the running down stocks. Otherwise, if there are urgent orders, there will be no urgent orders at all, even if demand increases, because you have surplus amount of raw material available there. Yes, Zainab, any question? No question. Okay, I can't hear you actually, Zainab. So I need to continue. Huh?
No, sir.
You can.
No, sir.
Oh, all right. Okay, fine. Okay, have to refuse customers. Yeah, that's right. It's not only about asking for urgent orders. Sometimes you have to refuse customers. Like you tell your supplier to deliver the stock immediately, but supplier says I am already busy. Okay, so I cannot deliver you in the time frame you are giving, like maybe within a time period of 1 day or 2 days. So then, when customer will come to buy from you, you simply have to refuse them. That we do not have that amount at all, right? Like for example, you sell leather bags, for example, okay, and leather bags are sold to different shops. Now, let's say there is more demand of leather bags there, for example. So shopkeepers they start demanding more leather bags from you, okay? And they actually, so, but now, right now, you do not have much leather available. You cannot manufacture it. You ask your supplier to deliver the leather. The supplier says, I cannot deliver it that urgently. You have to wait for your stock to be delivered, and I will deliver it within weeks' time. So now you can't help it. So you have to refuse your to shopkeepers that we can't deliver it at the moment. So that will happen actually. When you refuse your customers, what will happen? That would be the development of the point. Anybody? Shazeen and
Since the
Zainab.
stock would not be available, so customers will be disappointed and will not shop again.
Okay, they won't come up next time. That's right. There
Sir,
will be. Yes, Shazeen, please go ahead.
sir, customer loyalty will be decreased.
Absolutely right. Those people who actually used to buy from the same business time and again, they will also not buy from you. And they will, in fact, spread a bad word of mouth that this business is not able to meet the demand of their customers. So you will not be losing customers only, you won't get new customers as well because bad word of mouth will be spread by those customers who were loyal to you earlier. So there will be a huge loss of revenue and profit as a result. So this is how you can extend your development to the end. Obviously, in the end, profit and revenue is the most important part for a private sector business. So this is analysis, right? Now, okay, so another one is internal sources of finance, owner's money, we discussed about it, or owner savings. And I told you this option is available to certain types of businesses. And what are those businesses? Zainab or Shadi?
Sir, sole traders and partnership business.
Absolutely right. Sole trader and partnership. Because in private and public limited companies, shareholders do not bother using their own money for personal needs to support business. Not at all. Because in public limited company and private limited company, they are incorporated business. That means owner and business are separate. But in partnership and sole trader, uh, uh, there is no such feature there that they are unincorporated business. Owner and business are the same. So obviously, if business is not running well, so obviously, owner has to use his or her personal money, which is available for meeting personal needs to support the business. So this is possible. Okay, so put more of their savings into the business. This is possible, and the advantage is readily available. Obviously, this is quite easy because this is already there in the bank account or at owner's place. Okay, and you can just get it as quickly as possible. In fact, you can. This is the most quickest method of finance available to the business. And how can you develop it? Now, this is my question. Like, so this is the part. This is the part in which you need to get experts when it comes to writing answers. That's why I'm discussing that part as well. Okay, fine. It is available quickly because it is readily available there at owner's place or in the bank account. But how it is an advantage if it is quickly available? Can you tell me? Zainab and Shadi? No idea?
Um, Sir,
Yeah, please.
maybe it is available quickly because the owner
No,
itself has
wait,
to.
Shadeen, wait. I'm not saying that whether it is available quickly or not. We understand that it is available quickly because it is readily available to the owner. It's owner's own money, so owner can use it anytime, right? So we understand that. I'm saying if it is available quickly, what is the advantage? That's my question.
Sir, they don't have to wait much, and secondly, no third party is involved.
Wait. Shadeen, wait. You just mentioned that
Sir,
they do not. Zainab, just a minute. Shadeen, you just said that they do not have to wait much. Okay, all right. Let me get the response from Zainab as well. Yes, Zainab.
sir, I was going to say that if the business might be in loss, so the owner will use his savings to save the business.
All right. Okay. Sometimes, very good. Sometimes you require money quickly. There are some sort of expenditures which you cannot linger on. You cannot delay it. Okay. One is if you are suffering losses and you have to pay to your supplier. So obviously, if you don't pay, supplier won't deliver the goods. So obviously, your production will stop. Similarly, if your workers are waiting for their wages and salaries, and 1 month have passed and you do not pay them right there, they won't work for the next month. they will switch to some other business, right? So it means that there are certain expenditures that you cannot postpone. You have to address to them quickly. So they here that option is extremely useful. Shaveen, got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how you need to develop the skill to develop your point. I'm telling you, lots of students they do it, but they mention the point like you mentioned that there will be no delay, but they actually jump on to the next point as you just did, Shaveen. You mentioned that point, but without extending it, you actually jumped on to the next point. This should not happen because they won't give you marks if you are writing too many points at the in that space which is actually allocated for one advantage. If you write too many advantages points only, it won't give you the marks because there is only one mark for the knowledge. It doesn't matter you write two advantages, three advantages in the space which is available for writing and explaining one advantage. So remember, once you mention an advantage, you need to explain it, extend your point, develop it, rather than mentioning another point. Do not jump on to the next point because that space is not for two advantages. This is for one. So examiner won't give you marks for that. Shazeen, got it?
Ji, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, now, so no interest payment, again, you understand this, but still I'll ask you. We understand it's an internal source of finance, so interest does not need to be paid. All right. But what is the advantage if interest is not paid? Development required. What? Anybody? Whenever, Shazeen? Anybody? No idea? Whenever Shazeen. Whenever? You can't think of it? Are you able to hear me? Is my voice clear? Shazeen and Zainab. I think I'm not getting response from you actually. Let me, okay, get to it. Let me explain that. So, no interest payment. I told you interest is an expense. Simple as that. Okay? Interest is an expense. So, if you do not pay interest, it means it will reduce the amount of expenditure. So, when expenditure goes down, obviously it will increase the amount of profit business earns. Simple. Okay, so it means if you use a source of finance where you have to pay interest, such as a bank loan, so it will reduce your profit as well because interest is an expense. This is how you should be developing this point as well. Then we have disadvantages, low saving. So savings will be because generally, as I told you, that this option is available to sole trader or partnership, and normally they run a small business, okay, owners. So they normally have very low savings, and that amount might not be used for any kind of expenditure because that saving is for their own personal need, okay. And being one owner, they might have very small amount of need there. So saving might not be that big because the business is small as well. So owner might not be getting a huge amount of profit. So now if saving will be used, that won't be sufficient at all for meeting any kind of expenditure. So that is one of the disadvantages there. So increased risk, yes, we discussed about it. And that is why we say that in partnership and sole trader, there is unlimited liability. But now it's not actually the money that has been invested in the business that is at stake. The money which is available for meeting owner's personal needs, it is also at risk now because the owner has used that money to support the business. So the risk will increase. So now, if business faces financial crisis or closes down, it will affect the, the owner as well because now owner will not be able to meet his or her personal needs as well, right? So it's not only about the business will come to an end and then the owner will start some other business or will start doing some other business activity. No, because now nothing is left. Now owner will not be able to meet his basic necessities as well. So that is how you can explain that the disadvantage of increased risk as well. Now we can move on to external source of finance, but for that let me stop the recording because I need to ask you something.